My name is Cynthia. Standing in front of my door, listening to my parents' insistent knocks and demands, I'm transported back to a series of events that led me to this point. It was a journey that taught me the true meaning of boundaries and self-respect. My family hails from a small town in Georgia. My parents, Henry and Linda, have always held a traditional view of family. Dad, Henry, is a stern and authoritative man who believes in strict family hierarchies. Mom, Linda, is more manipulative, using guilt, tripping as her weapon of choice. My sister, Grace, 32, is the opposite of me. She's impulsive, always living beyond her means, and has 2 lovely kids, but that hasn't stopped her from making poor financial decisions. I just had a grueling month at work. I work in a high-pressure tech startup in Atlanta, where long hours and tight deadlines are the norm. After finally surviving the chaos, I was rewarded with a substantial Q4 bonus. I thought it was a well-deserved breather after all the hard work. One weekend, I went to my parents' house for what I assumed would be a normal family dinner. Tired from work, I casually mentioned my bonus, just like you'd mention the weather. But the moment the words left my mouth, I saw Grace's eyes light up. Without asking how I was, she leaned in and demanded half of my bonus. "It's for the kids," she said, as if that was an unassailable reason. I was stunned, thinking it was a joke. I looked at my parents, expecting them to set her straight. Instead, Dad scowled at me and said, "You're being selfish. Family helps family." Mom nodded in agreement, her voice sickly sweet as she repeated the same mantra. In an instant, I realized that in their eyes, I was no longer their daughter, but a walking ATM. I didn't argue. I just got up, left the house, and drove back to my apartment in a daze. As I sat in my car, looking at my reflection in the windshield, I felt a sense of betrayal. I'd always been the responsible one, working extra shifts in college, helping Grace out whenever she was in trouble, all because I thought that's what a good family did. But now, it was clear that they'd been taking advantage of my kindness. That night, I took action. I transferred my bonus to a new, private account, changed all my banking passwords, enabled 2-factor authentication, and removed all trusted devices except my own. I also froze my credit and set up real-time fraud alerts. It was a quiet, strategic move, but I knew it would make a big difference. Sure enough, the next day, my phone started buzzing non-stop. Grace sent me pictures of the kids, along with guilt-laden messages about how I was hurting them. Mom called, leaving a voicemail saying that I was causing a rift in the family and that I needed to fix it. Dad texted commands, demanding that I come over and sort things out. As the days went by, the pressure from my family only intensified. Grace's messages turned from pleading to angry. She accused me of being a bad sister and a selfish person. Then, I received a notification from my credit monitoring app, a potential fraud attempt. I knew it was Grace. She was willing to cross the line to get what she wanted. I handled the situation calmly, just like I would at work. I reported the fraud attempt, gathered evidence, and informed my parents via email that from now on, all communication would be through this medium. But they didn't respect my boundaries. Mom called again, and Dad's texts became more and more aggressive. My cousin Ryan was the only one in the family who supported me. He'd always been a level-headed guy. He warned me that my family was spreading lies about me, saying that I was unstable and greedy. I was disheartened but also determined to stand my ground. I decided to move away from Atlanta. I found a new job in Seattle, a place far enough from my family that surprise visits would be difficult. In Seattle, I started a new life. I found a cozy apartment near a park, joined a local book club, and met a wonderful man named Jake. He was kind, understanding, and never once asked about my family's drama. Back in Georgia, the consequences caught up with Grace. She'd maxed out her credit cards, and her husband, Tom, was fed up with her irresponsible behavior. He left her, and she had to move back in with my parents. Whenever the house got tense, my parents would blame me, as if I was the one who'd caused all the problems. One day, I ran into Grace at a grocery store in Seattle. She looked haggard, a far cry from her usual flashy self. When she saw me, she seemed embarrassed. She stammered out an apology, and for the first time, I believed she meant it. She asked if we could have coffee sometime, just to talk. I didn't answer right away. I needed time to think. But I knew that this was a sign of hope. Maybe one day, we could have a real relationship, but only on my terms. Now, standing here with my parents outside my door, demanding that I come back and fix the family, I'm stronger than ever. I take a deep breath, open the door slightly, and look them in the eye. I'm not coming back, I say firmly. Respect isn't about obedience. If the only way to keep this family is to sacrifice myself, then I'm better off without it. My parents look shocked, but I'm done being the one who always gives in. I've learned that setting boundaries is not selfish. It's necessary for my own well-being. And I'm ready to face whatever comes next on my own terms.